Hey everybody, welcome to Backish of Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Sabotage. This has been on my list forever. I have not been meaning to do it forever. It's been on my list. And only really because I had one part of it for my entire comic book reading career. I've had one issue, and I have always quietly wondered what happens in it, and then, having finished it, I still wonder why anyone could bother to care.
I was gonna say, this isn't that big. What is this, 3 issues tops?
3 issues from 1991. It is X-Force, Spider-Man, Sabotage. This tome we have before us represents the changing of the tide for Marvel Comics and the comic book industry at large, because this is actually scripted by Fabian Nicieza, but the stories are all Rob Liefeld with one Todd McFarlane in there.
How does that even work?
Right, well, I don't know. I've never seen the creative process from Rob Liefeld. The way I figured it, it was very much Marvel style, where Rob would just draw shit, and then Nicieza would be like, here's what they're saying.
Wait. Are you telling me 2 of the issues were drawn by Rob Liefeld?
That's what I'm telling you.
May I leave?
No, you may not.
May I be excused?
You, I don't think, have had enough exposure to Liefeld art at its peak. This kind of stuff is what made Liefeld's career. So if you think this sucks, then you are flying in the face of millions of comic book readers
Is it?
in 1991 who were like, this is peak. Now for me, it's interesting because it is peak, because one chapter is drawn entirely by Todd McFarlane. And I'm like night and day between the two of them in terms of what I want to look at and what I don't want to look at. But that is entirely subjective, and I don't mean to diminish any fans' enjoyment of one or the other creator. So I'll simply say my personal choice is I like one chapter out of 3 chapters.
Did Todd do this?
Todd did the cover.
And
now,
Rob did this?
that's correct.
Okay, because
Oh no. Rob doesn't normally draw Spider-Man. It's actually quite rare you'll see it, and I think that's for the better of everybody. This is interesting because I don't think this is actually a cover. I think these are pieces from the pages of Todd's issue that are cut out and made into a cover. The graphics department making images out of them and then putting them onto the cover in some slapdash way. This collection doesn't exist anywhere outside of, I think, Epic Collections, but it wouldn't be called Sabotage, and it wouldn't probably collect the Spider-Man issue. But if it is available, I'll put it in the comments down below. You can check out that copy because it is, again, it's peak X-Force. Now, of course, Rob Liefeld had taken over New Mutants from Louise Simonson, and then had strong-armed Marvel into changing the title from New Mutants to X-Force, because X-Force sounds and is way cooler.
Well, I mean, it has X in the title.
And Force. And as we know, Force works.
It's a force to be reckoned with.
That's right. And so we see primarily Rob Liefeldian characters taking over the book and then kind of getting in the way of any other X-Men characters. Again, you're talking to a fan who did not really dig X-Force, but I'm going to try not to really crap on it. There's not much really to talk about when it comes to X-Force. But this does collect issues, I believe 3 and 4 of X-Force, and 1 issue of Spider-Man, I believe issue 16. These are dovetailing off of the first 2 issues of X-Force, which immediately just comes out of the cancellation or the changing of the guard from New Mutants. So if you're confused about what's happening in the Sabotage 3-part story,
I'm confused already.
I mean, don't be surprised, because you really need to read X-Force 1 and 2 in order to understand 3. It's not very new reader friendly.
So did they change the lineup of the New Mutants or just call it X-Force?
Both. Rob Liefeld, when he took over, he started adding a whole bunch of new characters. And then once the book was unrecognizable from New Mutants, they just changed the name and made it X-Force. And it was entirely Rob's book.
Okay, that's at least fair. It's not like I took the original X-Men and just like, there, your new name is Generation P.
No, he didn't change any of the established characters, although he did redraw them, but he was also not interested in dealing with any established characters. He was mostly working on his own stuff, which of course would be indicative of, you know, the development of Youngblood and other characters that he would work on when he left to go establish Extreme Studios, and of course found Image alongside many other notable and similar artists of the time. This also is Todd McFarlane's last Spider-Man issue. This is Todd McFarlane leaving Marvel.
Is with this?
Is with this.
Okay.
He is
I
essentially...
don't even know what's in here. I haven't opened it.
He is
I'm
essentially
afraid.
doing Liefeld a favor by being like, I'll do chapter 2, which is technically called part 1 in this, but it isn't because it's obviously the second issue in the series.
Right.
Of your 3-part story that has absolutely nothing to do with Spider-Man. It's just an opportunity for Todd to end his run on the title that was created just to keep him there.
And I guess to also like throw some Spider-Man in the book to make it sell better.
Damn right. Although he didn't need it because X-Force was already selling great.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
X-Force was huge, as was Spider-Man. I mean, these were the books that were given essentially to those creators. Like, sure, we'll change it to New Mutants to X-Force, even though there's like a long, like almost 100-issue run of New Mutants with long-standing creators, because we just don't want you to leave. So here you go, X-Force. Todd, wait. We'll give you a whole book called Spider-Man. You can write it and draw it, knock yourself out. And so then eventually those ended. But anyway, let's not worry about that right now. All you need to know is that it starts in the middle of an X-Force story, and I use story very loosely, and then Todd goes, I want to draw the whole book like this. And then Liefeld goes, and I will carry the torch. And it is maddening. It is infuriating. Now, as a kid, I loved it because you're essentially getting non-stop widescreen comic booking.
Hey, can you grab me a drink?
No, like a stiff one. This
You want to
book-
just look like a perv the entire time you're reading?
Yeah.
I just love reading a calendar.
Right? It's fun. Now, this book wouldn't exist without a character named Ariana Jankos. And Ariana Jankos...
Ariana Grande, got it.
Nope, Ariana Jankos. Jankos is a...
Giant jeans that we wore in the 90s.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta drop that vowel, though, because it's Jinkos! Man, yeah. Did you ever own actual Jinkos?
Oh, yeah.
I owned knockoff Jinkos. My parents wouldn't go so far as to buy me the name brand, mostly because they were so expensive.
I bought my Jankos.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, I'm sure your parents have been like, absolutely not. So, we need to establish Ariana Janko because in the previous issue that is not in this collection, she is the linchpin upon which this entire story rests because some...
Never met her before, though, right?
Oh, and she won't appear ever again.
Good.
Yeah, no. She is a billionaire business owner who is experiencing a hostile takeover, and it is facilitated via Roberto DaCosta, a.k.a. Sunspot.
Okay.
Yeah, real character,
Sure.
fun.
Yeah.
He is teaming up with Gideon, who was also invented by Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, we've heard that name.
Yeah, Gideon has appeared alongside Deadpool in their first appearance in New Mutants 98.
Little Gideon?
No, Big Gideon. External Gideon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so Gideon and Sunspot go to the World Trade Center where they are going to facilitate a hostile takeover of some corporation. And she needed help because she was not on the level. And so she coerces the efforts of one Black Tom Cassidy.
Oh.
Yeah. And his magic shillelagh. And when I say magic, I mean mutant powered or mutant conduit shillelagh. Because he has the ability to manipulate wood. What matters is Black Tom Cassidy's in the book. And
He's the Lorax. He speaks for the trees.
That's right. And he has a long-standing history with one Juggernaut. They are, in fact, best amigos.
Yeah.
And at some point or another, Juggernaut gets shunted off into another dimension. And so he needs help from Janko in order to get Juggernaut back into this plane of existence because he misses his best friend. And so that's what he does. And we see all that in another book that is not collected in this for whatever reason.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about it.
We don't have to worry about it. I mean, the fact is you do have to worry about it because, like, it happens.
Is it just Black Tom Cassidy pining away for his friend the entire time?
I mean, that's usually how it goes. Like, every story with Black Tom and Juggernaut is like, hey, buddy, let's go. Oh, I love you so much. And you're like, okay, what the hell? It's just because they went to prison together and they were just pals. And I'm like, oh, I get it.
Pals.
Ariana, is she also, like, super hot?
No.
Wow.
Because
okay.
she's drawn by Rob Liefeld. I don't find anyone who's drawn by him attractive, but she is meant to be because she has all the proportions of every woman that he draws.
Right.
So don't worry about her. Again, she disappears. Like, all she does is she uses her money and influence to facilitate the construction of an interdimensional transport machine that Black Tom Cassidy uses in the World Trade Center to project Juggernaut from his previous plane of existence into this plane of existence. So now Juggernaut's back in the book and on Earth, and oh no. Now Black Tom Cassidy also has plans.
Did she avert the hostile takeover of her business?
No. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, because, well, Rob was bored with that plot. You know, like, that is happening.
Oh, so we don't
And
care
then
about
Black
that anymore?
Tom shows up and he's like, ho ho, I'm gonna kill ya. And you're like, okay. And then he's like, but hang on a second. No, he actually ends up taking everyone in the World Trade Center hostage. And he manages to keep them there for days, though it doesn't look like days pass within the pages of those books. But Black Tom keeps them there because he has explosives throughout the World Trade Center towers.
Oh, we're going to get flagged.
And so
I mean, having Juggernaut in the World Trade Center to begin
it's
with
already a
is
problem.
problematic.
Oh, it's going to get worse before it gets better. If it ever gets better, which
And it won't.
doesn't. DaCosta and Gideon are technically hostages of Black Tom, though are they? There's also a real concern about civilians and innocent people that are getting caught in the crossfire, though we never see any of them. Once Juggernaut appears, then Black Tom Cassidy's niece, aka Siren, appears because she had multiple days of the standoff between Black Tom and everybody else. And so, since no member of the superhero community shows up to stop this terrorist attack, Siren decides, well, since no one's there, I'll go. So she swoops in, and Juggernaut's there, and he's like, ho-ho!
To help Black Tom or
No,
to
to stop
it?
Black Tom. No,
Okay.
It's a typical family drama, you know? It's just like,
Yeah, he's the black sheep of the family.
exactly, well, that's why they call him that.
Otherwise, it'd just be Tom Cassidy.
That's right, nobody wants that, that's lame. She is gonna help out, but of course, Juggernaut is impossibly powerful and can't be stopped, as is established multiple times throughout the book. So while Siren is nimble and able to fly and keeps out of the way of Juggernaut,
Does she fly the way Banshee
Yeah.
flies, just screaming at the ground?
yeah. It's not quite as hilarious looking as if you were watching it in live action, like in, let's say, X-Men First Class, where he's just, ah! Although we already had that in the X-Men animated series, and I remember just being like,
What is happening?
yeah. Although I think the best version of Banshee is the action figure, and the reason for that is because there's a whistle built into him.
So you have to blow into the back of Banshee.
And he just, it's great. Yeah, to simulate his scream. I wish I had him, I'd show you, but
I wish you did too, because like,
he has like a little, you know, he has the blow part in the back and then a little hole in the front, and
Yeah.
and it works. You know, it's timeless. It's a whistle, so like you could blow into it today and it would
it's
still
just
work.
so weird to be playing and be like, and then Banshee
Yeah, that's right.
flies over here.
Yeah, and he also doesn't have like any articulation, so like his arms are just open, like they go down or up.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
it's just, it's great. But Banshee's not in the book. Although Siren, I think, has gone by Banshee before. Either way,
Tiffany, it's too early for that part.
you trying to acclimate yourself in space? Don't bother, because that's drawn by Rob Liefeld.
I know.
So Black Tom Cassidy shoots at his niece with his shillelagh.
Wait. You know what? No, we won't. No. Where is her scalp in relationship to her face? I'm sorry.
So Black Tom Cassidy fires at his niece and shoots her through the waist, I guess, and that brings her down, but not for
Not in her
long.
whistle.
So while she's falling, she is intercepted by the flying ship of X-Force, piloted by Cable and
Why does it look
assisted
like a
by
little
Domino. Because that's Cable's suit for the beginning of the run, like from X-Force 1 until later on in the series.
The ship. Why does the ship look like a little bullet?
Oh, because ships are very hard to draw.
Well,
I thought you were talking about Cable.
no,
'cause
I
Cable also looks like a
I
bullet.
noted Cable's little outfit. Mm-hmm. Is this
the fact that he's
before
in
or after they decide it's too much? We
No,
need
this is well before. No, we haven't
Okay.
gone full Cable yet. Because this is the evolution of Cable. No, my peak Cable is Cable where you can see his arms, but he's encumbered. Just covered in stuff. That's my Cable.
Just all these pouches.
Just pouches and guns and gun belts and bandoliers. He's just covered in stuff, and he just looks like he's just tired all the time. You know, like a kid schlepping a sled up a hill for the 100th time.
Yeah, this just looks like power armor.
Yeah, this is just power armor. And he doesn't need it because he's also super powerful, although I don't think X-Force knows that at this point. But anyway, the X-Force team has teamed up with Siren, and Siren isn't a member of X-Force, but she would like to team up with them to get one over on Black Tom Cassidy, you know, her evil uncle. One member of X-Force is James Proudstar, John Proudstar's brother. He died very early in his career as an X-Man and hadn't been resurrected until way too late into the Krakoa era. But during that time, they were like, we really want to have more Native American representation. So how about his angrier brother, James? and his codename is Warpath. And so Warpath is super powerful and a badass. So he springs into action to go and like fight toe-to-toe with the Juggernaut, which should be impossible, but it isn't. I guess
because he's super badass and cool.
Juggernaut is just, well, because Juggernaut is...
because Warpath is super badass and cool.
He very much is. But so is everybody on the X-Force. Let's go over who's on X-Force, shall we?
Yeah, let's just go to the cover.
Yeah, we've got Warpath, we've got Domino,
yeah.
We've got Cable, we have Shatterstar. And we've never really talked about Shatterstar, but Shatterstar is from Mojo World, and he can basically do anything. Like, his powers are essentially advanced or extended abilities in, and then you name it, like mental powers. Like his card is all 7s.
Oh, it's the
agility, power, strength, intelligence. You know, it's maxed out.
He's the Cartman of superheroes.
That's right. He has many powers.
Question?
Yeah.
Is one of his powers that his cape is always going to the side of his body?
Well, it is easier to draw, but also yes, he projects his own wind.
Okay.
He just farts really hard. Well, he farts harder.
I project my own wind too.
That's true, but you know, because it's Shatterstar, he does it better than you.
Damn it!
And more advanced. So his farts can be angled and projected, and you know, create these dynamic images for his cape. Also, Cannonball is on the team.
Okay.
And of course, when Cannonball is in his Cannonball state, he cannot be killed. Like, he is invulnerable. Although he isn't in this, but every other time he is. Don't worry about that. Domino is there as well. Domino is Cable's right-hand woman. She, of course, has, you know, luck advantage kind of powers.
Yeah.
And
she would later be she's like one of the only, I guess, members of this version of this team that's on X-Force during Krakoa.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think Shatterstar is. He's in Krakoa, but he's not on
I think
X-Force.
he might have been on X Factor for a minute. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
We also have, of course, Sunspot and Gideon and more. We also forgot about Feral. Feral is not Wolfsbane, completely different character.
Every time I see her, I'm like, oh, Wolfsbane's here.
Yeah.
Like, literally every time, and then I'm like...
they look almost exactly the same?
Yeah, and then I'm like,
yeah.
oop, not Wolfsbane. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is Feral. Think Wolfsbane. That's it. Oh, but she's more hardcore. Like, at one point...
Yeah, she has a much more plunging neckline.
That's true, but also she is quite... She lives up to her name. When Cable goes on, like, a training exercise with the team, trying to, like, get them, you know, more accustomed to working as a team, she carves out Cannonball's guts, though that never is depicted visually in the comic book, and it's basically just Cannonball's word for it, which just makes him look like a crybaby because you never see that. They also say that he's losing blood by the buckets, and I'm like, no, he's not. I can clearly see what's happening, and there's no blood whatsoever, but, you know, that's comics code for you. Also...
I can't help but imagine that if she's doing it, she grabbed him and then dug in with her back feet, like, right in the belly.
I would love to see that.
Has there ever been, like, an X team that was, like, a wild pack where it was, like, Feral and Wolfsbane and Wild Child?
Yeah, right? No.
And maybe some Wolverine.
Yeah, we've seen essentially an X-Force where they're all claw-based.
The pack. I don't know. There's something there.
There's an X-Force. I think there's an X-Force that you would enjoy that is very much that.
I didn't say I would enjoy this. I'm just asking if it existed.
Yes, but Feral's not on that team.
Oh, okay.
But quite a few other characters like that are, and they are used to their fullest extent, which is to say they are murderers who use sharp implements of destruction. But so this is when Sunspot and Gideon decide, I guess it's time to fight Black Tom. So they do, and Black Tom somehow manages to hold his own until Cable arrives, and then Cable's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you, because Cable's a badass, and he takes no prisoners, and he's not as soft as all the Xavier people, because he's new and he's dope.
Wow. All right.
I know.
Just keep going.
Don't worry about it.
I'm
You
not,
have to just let your eyes glaze over.
I'm just gonna look that. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna disassociate over there.
Tiffany, look at how Spider-Man is positioned.
Yeah, but while the first chapter, look, this is the only time you're ever going to see it normal ways. So while Warpath and Juggernaut are fighting at the base of the North Tower, Spider-Man swings by, because he always does, he's just around, and he's like,
I heard a ruckus.
should I get involved? I guess I will.
Get out of here, Spidey!
But while Spider-Man is considering getting involved in this crossover, Black Tom Cassidy sets off some explosions, so the top part of the World Trade Center in North Tower
Okay,
explodes.
when was this written?
1991, 10
Okay.
years before 9/11. So,
Okay, I just want to point out that they yell.
yeehaw!
Yeah, that's their.
That may just be cannibal.
Is it yeehaw or yee-ah with no H?
It could also just be yeah.
Which,
Right?
which is what I wanted it to be.
I think we need to make that the way it is. Just put a couple of H's in there. So Spider-Man gets involved after the World Trade Center explodes, and so then the book needs to turn this way. And now it's just Todd time. And I should point
Okay,
out,
admittedly, that Spider-Man does look great.
it's Todd's Spider-Man.
I know,
and
I'm just saying.
it's his last.
It was
This
a
is the
bird.
last commercial Spider-Man we will see by Todd McFarlane until I believe he does a unofficial Spider-Man Spawn crossover on the cover of like a comic book price guide magazine a couple of years ago. But
Wow.
Soak it in.
No, that's admittedly dope.
every page is dope. And that is from very much a subjective opinion, but every page is dope. So dope that actually every page of this issue sold for no less than $10,000 at auction. Some of these pages went for $29,000.
Wait. Even the Liefeld ones?
No, just the Spider-Man
Oh,
ones.
okay.
So Spider-Man swings in, and what effectively you have are two stories.
He just wanted to draw posters.
Yeah. He wants to push the envelope. Now what's amazing is...
You can draw a poster on one side of the page.
Yeah, but it's a different dimension.
He calls it Cyan?
That's the street they're on.
Yeah.
It's his daughter. He's got to put her in there.
Yeah.
Also, he's going to name the main child after her too, but he hasn't quite gotten Spawn cracked yet,
Right.
because Spawn hasn't needed to exist at this point. Although I should point out that I don't recall Todd ever doing this in Spawn.
He's like, well, not in my book.
You'd think he'd do it all the time since he likes it so much.
He's like, no, I want them to have to do
I
this.
tried it one time. It was my last middle finger to Marvel.
That's right. Can you believe it? They did the whole damn issue, and then after I left, they did it again.
They thought it was so brilliant.
What a bunch of idiots. This is also my Juggernaut. Todd McFarlane's Juggernaut. Now also, Juggy has an external kind of force field that prevents him from harm. Todd is writing this issue and couldn't care less about that. So there's a dope moment in this book that is also edited, and we can find the unedited bits now that we live in the future online, which I will put in through the show for you to enjoy.
Will it be on
Because-
Ben's shirt?
Why not?
Ah!
It's Juggernaut's eye getting gouged out by Shatterstar.
Whoa!
Isn't it
I'm not okay
dope?
with this.
Well,
I didn't sign on for this.
The rest of this issue is just Spider-Man and some of X-Force fighting Juggernaut, while Cable, Domino, and any of the other members of X-Force upstairs in what used to be the top half of one of the towers in the World Trade Center, trying to claw themselves out of the wreckage and look for civilians, though they never find any. It's super sad and dark, though also no one treats it like that. There's a big moment where Gideon and Cable are arguing over like who's a more loose cannon and who is more responsible or less responsible, and clearly Cable couldn't care less about regular people at all. He just wants to get Black Tom. And that's the whole issue. It's just that. Them just complaining and measuring each other's dicks. Boom. That's the whole X-Force subplot. The rest of it is Spider-Man interacting with the rest of these characters like Warpath and Feral and Shatterstar, and Spider-Man being like, I'm better than this.
What's wrong with you people?
And
Why are you here causing this mayhem?
Well, he's like, I don't need to be here. I don't know who any of these people are, but I also know that Juggernaut is a problem, so I guess I have to get involved as the elder statesman of the Marvel Universe.
Well, not only that, but the top part of the World Trade Center just got exploded.
He couldn't even notice. So I don't think Spider-Man notices at all.
But then how will he put his web between the two buildings?
I know, right? In that movie.
I mean, like,
Trailer.
Listen. That guy, Spider-Man should pay attention. That guy has a sword. It has 2 blades.
Yeah.
Not 1, 2.
Yeah, and it's got spikes on the card.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, he is a badass. Shatterstar is admittedly
you're
cool.
holding it wrong. There you go.
And then the rest of it would just be explaining what the action is. You know, like Cannonball tries to hit Juggernaut and he bounces off of him.
Look at his feet.
Juggernaut?
Yeah. He's got cute feet.
Juggernaut, I think, is very inspired by anime at this time.
Yeah, he's got very itty bitty. I just really like that
There's
a
a moment
lot.
where he
I have
laughs.
giant boots and thighs.
Yeah.
My feet aren't like, proportionate to my entire body.
No, there's a moment where Juggernaut laughs, and I'm like, that is straight up just anime. Like, what you're doing is just that.
Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either, especially because of what he does. But anyway, so Spider-Man and X-Force try to fight Juggernaut. So Spider-Man faces Juggernaut, and he's just like, hey, man, listen, why don't you knock it off? I know you're not going to. So then he webs his eyes and then forces Warpath to push him over him like they're in 6th grade. One of the X-Force jets, spaceships lands. It looks nothing like the one that Liefeld drew in the previous issue, but
Nope.
whatever. And then Boom Boom comes out, and she was not established in either of the issues, but now she is, and here she is, and yay.
You just gotta keep Boom Boom in the back.
Yeah, you gotta put her in there. So she, shoots at Juggernaut. Now we can see the sequence where, he stabs him in the eye. Of course, Juggernaut's like, well, because of the magical crystal of Cyttorak that's coursing through my veins, my healing factor is already, fixing the eye that you stabbed, and so I can see again. And I'm like, okay. Though I should point out that when Shatterstar does gouge out Juggernaut's eye, this is when he decides he means business. And he's like, all right, I wasn't going to kill all of you. My plan was just to get Black Tom and get out of here, but now that you guys made it personal, I guess I'll knock down one of the towers of the World Trade Center. So Juggernaut does.
Look,
They didn't
there is
know.
wanton destruction in tons of comic books. Buildings destroyed all the time.
Yeah.
The White House is blown up and damaged.
That's true.
But
Just the fact that this happened, it's not like
10 years prior, they didn't know.
No, they had no idea.
But I mean, there were people in there.
There were, and we never meet any of them, and we never lament their loss.
No, it was a Sunday.
Right.
They weren't working.
It was empty. Oh, except for all the people who were there for that meeting.
What, the hostile takeover meeting?
Yeah, that one. There were other heads of state. There were
Oh,
other
the hostages that had bombs strapped to them.
No, they didn't
Forgot
have.
about
They
that part.
didn't have bombs on them. It was just that the building was wired with explosives.
Oh,
Oh.
did we turn for a minute back?
We have to turn back because we've run out of pages. This is literally the last page of the book.
Oh.
So Spider-Man's like,
And I refuse to draw, the last page like a double splash.
it would take longer. So Spider-Man's like, that's it. You people don't know what you're doing. I'm taking charge. He doesn't, and it's an X-Force book again. But this is just Todd McFarlane saying goodbye.
Wait, was Liefeld like, I'm not going to write Spider-Man, or I'm not going to put Spider-Man in my book?
He's in the book, but he doesn't do what Spider-Man implies he's going to do in this.
Oh, okay. Because he's not cool.
I don't need to
He
establish
has
Spider-Man.
0 hair shooting out of his mask, so I don't care about him.
Yeah. So then we get to the
He
X-Force
doesn't
stuff.
have a cape or tassels or hair or something that can blow in the wind. I am out.
That's right. So then we just keep doing more of the fight. Shatterstar's really mad that Juggernaut won't let him kill him.
Rob, what the hell are you doing? Either go vertical or go horizontal.
I know, you gotta
Don't
pick
flip
one.
between both.
We're flipping between. So Spider-Man's just now in the fray, and also doesn't have anything to say about the really violent tactics of X-Force, nor does he have anything to say about the destruction of one of the World Trade Center towers, though also I don't think anyone really has anything to say about it for the rest of the Marvel Universe until 10 years later. But again...
Did they ever reference it back and be like, hey, remember that one time
Right.
one of the towers was destroyed?
Yeah, there's a 9/11 issue of Spider-Man, after it happens, that they put out there, in which everyone's reacting to, the senselessness and the loss of life. But there's no moment where anyone goes, and this was actually the second time that this has happened.
No, I have a
because they
feeling-
remember when Juggernaut knocked down one of these towers.
I feel like Marvel was like,
Yeah, no, that was very much like, let's never reference that ever again. Very much so. Like, I'm sure Marvel would very much not like this book anywhere in circulation.
Yeah, they're like, oh, please don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you know Marvel would had an inside job with 9/11?
Juggernaut.
They predicted it 10 years earlier.
Juggernaut can melt steel beams. Shatterstar seemingly is just whipping blades at Juggernaut because he's just so mad that he can't kill him. And Juggernaut is like, dude, you've stabbed me through the eye, you've hit me a bunch of times. None of this is effective. Like, why don't you learn a new trick? Until it is revealed when Siren swoops in that actually Shatterstar is super smart and he's only been cutting crucial juncture points around Juggernaut's helmet so that Siren can swoop in and take it off. And normally, this is the kind of thing that the X-Men would do so that one of their psychics could, give them the whammy.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Wolverine's done it.
We don't have any of those.
Oh, yeah. No, question. Where was Siren during the McFarlane issue? Did he think that was who Boom Boom was?
Maybe.
So wait, why would they take his helmet off then?
Oh, because that way we can kill him. Because the helmet is what protects him from any harm.
The helmet. Just the helmet.
Well, he can...
Because I feel like you can get into his mouth.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, but he also has... Okay, so Juggernaut has a energy field that would keep you out of his mouth anyway, but even if you did get into his mouth, he would heal fast enough to repair any damage you would inflict on him. But again, if you get the helmet off, then that stuff's permanent, except it isn't. Doesn't matter. The point is...
Because it's a crystal, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a crystal that he has inside of him, although sometimes it isn't, because I remember one time when Spider-Man teamed up with the X-Men, Juggernaut gets the crystal, and then he gives it to Black Tom as like a present, because he just loves Black Tom so much, and then Black Tom becomes a Juggernaut. And then the two of them fight. And it's really sad, because Juggernaut's like, you're my friend, why are you punching me? Anyway.
Is it a legitimate fight? I assumed it was like, hey, now
it's
you're strong
wrestle.
too. Let's see which one of us is stronger.
No,
Let's punch each other until we knock each other out.
Let's be stupid boys.
Yeah, what are we, boys? Of any age? No.
Let's run at the wall until one of us falls down.
I bet you'll fall down before I do.
Oh, I bet I don't. Let's hit each other in the head. Bonk. Anyway, so while that's happening, X-Force, B, I don't know, Cable's team, they're making their way down through the wreckage because they're still like in the building, and I'm like, wait, what? We knocked down the building. But
Wait,
anyway,
I thought they were in the other building.
they're in the World Trade Center.
Which tower?
They're in the one that got blown up.
The top
Juggernaut
part.
knocked down.
Oh, I thought you knocked down the other one that
No,
wasn't.
only one of them. There's only one that's down.
Okay.
But while they're still in like what remains of the top floor of the building, Cable chases Black Tom into an elevator shaft. The two of them actually end up having like the equivalent of an OK Corral gunslinger moment, where the two of them are like, okay. And Cable's just better. There's no explanation for why or how, but he shoots at Black Tom. Black Tom's like, oh no! And then he runs away and he falls into an elevator shaft and he grabs onto a Cable, ironically. And then Cable, capital C, is like, all right. And Black Tom goes, well, I guess this is the part where you take me in and I go to jail. And Cable's like, well, it's just so you could escape again? No. And then just fills him with lead, and then Black Tom plummets. And then Deadpool swoops in, and he grabs Black Tom, and he teleports him out of there.
What?
Because we're not done with Black Tom. And in fact...
Do we see that?
Yeah, we do see that. Right here.
Does Cable, when they're like having their standoff, say, you brought a shillelagh to a gunfight?
I wish that were the case. No, he says much worse things than that. He says, you'll end the day batting .666. Not bad for a minor leaguer, but not good enough to play with the big boys.
Oh, we use 666 because that's edgy and cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
Also, if you bet a .666, that's fantastic.
I don't know I don't know sports.
I think that means you hit twice out of every 3 times you're at bat.
Wow. Well, that's pretty good, but again, not good enough to play with the big boys.
Cable being one of the big boys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So while that's happening, S.H.I.E.L.D., and specifically one S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that's dressed like a member of X-Force.
Oh, wait, hang on. Cable doesn't know that Deadpool did this.
No, at the bottom of the elevator shaft, Deadpool gets him.
Isn't he dead?
No, he's fine. Well, he's hurt, and he's going to need...
And why does he, put a gun to his head?
Because he doesn't want Black Tom to betray him. He just wants to get him and then teleport out of there.
Sure.
It's fine. This is fine. This is fine. Shh, you're okay. You're okay.
Exactly. And actually,
Why are you pointing a gun at me? I don't know.
That's what I do. I'm Deadpool. I'm not really well defined yet. So after Black Tom gets recovered and taken away, they imbue him with like more wood so he can shoot energy without having to use a shillelagh. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Is that like bad thorns?
Is that a thing?
Or like no, but like is it like having a splinter or something?
Yeah, but if you're
Like constant splinters.
I would assume
Because that's terrible.
That sounds horrible.
I don't want the power.
Yeah, I don't want wood coursing through my veins.
Ben said bad thorns like it was...
Yeah, like it was a thing. I was like, what's bad thorns? Is that like the Bens? So anyway, we meet Colonel Bridge. He was established in the last 2 issues of this book, where Colonel Bridge works for S.H.I.E.L.D. He hates X-Force. He looks like a member of X-Force. He doesn't like them. They're loose cannons, blah, blah, blah. He shows up and yells at everybody. So they get the helmet off of Juggernaut, and then Cable shows up and he's like, all right, Juggernaut, I'm going to shoot you in the face. He doesn't say that. He says a bunch of nonsense.
That sums up into I'll shoot you in the face.
Yes. He says, no winners, no losers, just the two of us playing the part of fools. Now if you'll take me on first and kill me, at least you'll put me out of my misery. Of course, if I take care of you first, which would be a nice twist on things, like I already did to your good friend up there in the trade tower, then we're all done, nice and neat. So you can tell me how you plan to die, Kane, and I'll tell you how good a fortune teller you are. And I'm like, shut up. Everything you're saying is bad. I want you to know this.
That's real bad.
So then Juggernaut teleports away.
What?
He just teleports out of there. He's gone. He's not in the book anymore. And it's over.
You can do that?
Everyone in an X-Force book can teleport.
What?
Everyone.
Why?
Deadpool can teleport because he can. Cable has a teleportation thing that he uses, which he calls body sliding.
Yes.
And he can determine how many people can teleport with him. And I guess also the people associated with Black Tom or Deadpool teleport Juggernaut out of there. It doesn't matter. It never comes up again. But Juggernaut's out of there.
But they know he teleported. It's not like they fired at him and they think that he disintegrated.
No. He teleports and then they go, he teleported away? Why do they always teleport away? Which is ironic because then they teleport away.
Why do they always teleport away? Because you'd kill me otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's because you don't have any better ways of ending your stories. They always teleport away because you don't know how to end your books. And you're basing them all off of like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, next time gadgeting it.
Colonel Bridge shows up and he's like, and then Cable body slides everybody out of there except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like, am I in trouble now?
Is anyone upset about the World Trade Center?
Seemingly no. No one mentions it at all.
Okay.
And then they leave. It is the worst kind of comic book. Like, it is... I want to say it's all flash and no substance, but there's very little flash going on, And I understand why, if you were like 9, you'd think this is dope because you can follow it. Like, it's not terribly intricate.
You can barely follow it.
That's the thing, is like, I guess you can follow it, but like there's... Like, I remember as a kid reading this, not when it came out, but after it came out, but still being a child and absorbing it, and thinking that the Cable stuff was just too advanced for me. Like, it was too adult.
Like, all these words and all these things, it's because I'm not at that level yet.
Yes.
When I get older, this is going to be real deep.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'll get 2 bites of the same apple. I'll enjoy for the Spider-Man stuff, which must be juvenile, all this interpersonal drama. No. Cable and Gideon, you're like, I'm a bad guy, you're a badass. No. Meanwhile, the World Trade Center is crumbling all around them. People are like, please help me, I need to get to the hospital. But Gideon, I was born in 1411. Like, so? What? How is that deep? And meanwhile, like, Warpath is like, I gotta punch Juggernaut so hard. I'm just so mad. I'm just full. And that's really what it is, right? It must just be like, everyone is filled with indignant juvenile rage. Everyone is screaming, my hormones are screaming. I don't know what to do. I just want to draw this or read this. Everyone's yelling. Everyone is horribly violent. Yet
no one has a plan.
No one has any plan. There's actually a moment where somebody says, "What's your strategy?" And they go, "Strategy?" And I'm like, "That's to be on the cover. That's perfect. That is emblematic of everything that you are." What's the strategy here for dealing with Juggernaut? What do you mean? I just thought we'd scream at each other and punch each other until one of us fell down. And it's like, why is Spider-Man here?
Spider-Man's here, so you'll buy the book.
Yes. Well, it's brilliant because I was not an X-Force reader. I did not read X-Force. I did read Spider-Man. And Spider-Man being in that book made me go, well, I guess I should probably check that out.
But you never did until you got this.
That's right.
Little
Now I got
did
this
you
long
know,
ago.
you were the winner for not reading the rest.
I know. I really did make out okay, although I never had closure before. I was like, man, I wonder what becomes of this. I kind of wanted to see Spider-Man leading X-Force and teaching him a trick or two. But no, he doesn't teach them anything. Because from Liefeld's perspective, they have nothing to learn. We've already reached the peak.
They're already so great, Sal.
Yeah, they're already so dope and awesome. You don't want them to be lame and old like Spider-Man. That's crap. So yeah, it's a travesty. And what Wizard Magazine will call tasteless. Which I'm like, if Wizard is calling you tasteless, you screwed up. It's just a disaster. And I love that it's called Sabotage.
Why?
Because
they're sabotaging themselves, they're sabotaging Marvel, they're sabotaging one another
Sure.
because they won't
Well, because the story arc is called Sabotage because Black Tom sabotages the World Trade Center.
That's not
how that works.
sabotage.
No.
That's demolition and destruction.
Yeah.
I think that's terrorism.
Does he sabotage?
And they call him a terrorist, too.
Does he sabotage the deal? The
Oh, yeah.
takeover?
Oh, yeah, no, the deal falls apart. As you can imagine. Sunspot and Gideon do not get that money.
So, Ariana Jenkos, does she come out of this unscathed?
We never see her again.
So what happens to Gideon and Sunspot?
Well, you'll have to keep reading X-Force to find out.
No!
I think this is totemic for at least one of the bad avenues that the comic book industry will be lured down, paving the way for the artist to dictate what story will be.
So, flash over substance.
Yeah.
You've had us read and we've heard, and I've told on this couch, some really stupid stories, right? But they usually have at least something of a beginning, middle, and end, even if it's questionable.
Or it's done because someone had just a song in their heart.
This only exists because they had those two creators.
That's it. I mean, I think
And
that
they
this would have
tricked
happened
Todd
even without Todd.
McFarlane into doing it.
I don't think Todd was tricked at all. I think he was happy to do it. I think he loves the fact that his last Spider-Man issue is part 2, which he says is part 1 of a 3-part X-Force story.
Maybe it was part 1 for him. Maybe he was going to do, there was going to be another part.
There might have been.
And then he was like, nah.
Nah, I'm leaving now.
It's like part 1 of the Spider-Man one.
I mean, they were already prepared because in the previous issue, Eric Larson wrote and drew a Spider-Man story within the Spider-Man title. The Spider-Man title was made to keep Todd McFarlane at Marvel. Todd wrote and drew all of it, except for the mutant factor where Spider-Man and Beast team up. And that one is written and drawn by Eric Larson of Savage Dragon fame. And he's going to get the book after Todd leaves. So clearly they were grooming Larson to take over the book before this issue was done. Now that could have also been because it probably took Todd twice as long to do this issue.
Todd has his own stuff where it's all hyper stylized, but for the
I
most
can tell
part,
what's happening.
he's got the anatomy down.
Yeah.
So there's a
Even
difference.
if it's weird and creepy.
It's
Yeah,
his own consistent anatomy.
Yeah, well, it's he clearly
Okay,
gets it and he knows it, and so it's that's why he can exaggerate it because he understands it.
Yes.
Maybe it's not
That's weird.
100% all the time, but for the most part, he gets it. When you see him draw hands, he understands the bones that are in them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if I sat there and looked at it, you pick stuff out.
Big time.
And that's a key thing where it's if you're an artist and you want to draw things that are exaggerated, you have to understand it first before you can exaggerate it.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
Tasteless.
You really sabotaged us.
I did. Yeah,
You sabotaged the channel.
This ended up sabotaging the whole show. I'm really, I'm kind of impressed. This book manages to do that almost, 20 years later.
30.
Again, it's a curiosity. You can find all 3 issues in dollar bins across America.
But why?
But why would you? I don't know, maybe because of morbid curiosity.
No, but look at all those lines. That means they're good, right? If I put lots of lines on there, like I've seen other artists do with intention, but I do it without intention, that means it's high quality art. I'm basically Edward Gorey over here.
X-Force and Spider-Man Sabotage. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of Sal.
I'm Ben.
Boo!
Keep reading.
Boo indeed.
Yeah.
Boo this book.
Boo!
Slime.
Boo!
Putrescence.
Man, I hope they all find their lips at some point.
They never will. You know they won't.
Listen, art is
Subjective.
In the eye of the beholder.
very subjective. Like, there is objectiveness to it, there can be.
Right.
Like
but-
being right and wrong in terms of anatomy?
Yeah, but there is a definite subjective quality to it, and subjectively speaking, how many ass cheeks does he have? I don't know.